February 21st, Yanukovych leaves Kiev, and then on February 27, not even a week later, the Russian regime moves quickly and deploys the troops to Crimea. Those troops are in green unmarked uniforms, and the Ukrainians quip that the green men took over their territory at this moment. At the same time, a number of Russian tourists are reported to have arrived to eastern parts of Ukraine, and the tensions between Ukrainians and ethnic Russians in these regions seem to be on the rise. Under the Russian military presence, the referendum is held in Crimea on March 16, and then annexation of Crimea happens. Natalia, I know that you were in Crimea and you spoke with the people. In your view, how accurate were the referendum results? How closely or not they reflected the true preferences of ordinary Crimeans? Just to remind everyone, more than 80% of the Crimeans were reported to take part in the referendum, and more than 96% of those who took part in the referendum supported joining Russia. So, Natalia, could you tell us more about your impressions, views about what was going on in Crimea and how people were reacting to the events?
It's a bit tricky with the numbers, but those numbers you mentioned, they really has nothing to do with the reality, because even before, it's around maybe the half people are, would say, ethnically Russian, what they would call themselves, but it doesn't mean in Crimea as in the Ukraine that Russians, your ethnicity or the language you speak defines if you want to join Russia or not. But of course, of course, the figures should be involved, because, for instance, the party was this kind of referendum, was announced by a person who, in previous government, got 3 seats in the parliament out of 100. That's how representative was the strength of the current prime minister of Crimea. At the moment,
he was representing the party that openly was calling for annexation to Russia during that parliamentary voting, where he got only 3 or 4% of the popular vote in Crimea, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was these people. He was not really supported because it's in his record that he was engaged with some criminal activity in the 90s. But later, for me, it's also like there is a presence of the force. There is 1 week of when illegitimate parliament announced some kind of called as a referendum. It was not even everywhere organized. The Crimean Tatars, who I don't want to really give a particular number of how many of them, but they are boycotted let's give like that. Officially, it's told that the 40% of the Crimean Tatars voted for, but Crimean Tatars officials, they have their own Majlis, the decision-making council. They talking to the journalists to everywhere, told that 0.5% of Tatars were voting compared to 40 announced. But the other thing, what I find the most important, that we didn't talk enough about the role of media, because for the last couple of weeks and months in Crimea, there was a huge propaganda campaign. And when you talk to the people and to understand on what, even those who are supporting the separation, the idea that their judgment, you understand that what their judgments are made, that they are deceived. It's not just we, but they are deceived, because they would be told, and they would really sincerely believe, that the protesters at Maidan were shot by the opposition, but not by the Yanukovych. A lot of people would believe, and that would be explained by the media, by the Russian media there, that at first, Yanukovych fled, and then the people were shot by the opposition. They would be explained that Ukrainian, they would put all the clear picture that Yanukovych is corrupt, and the people would see in Crimea, because there would be the nice estate, the government, the shore of the sea would be overtaken by the kind of former corrupt officials from the Ukrainian state, and Russia would not the Russia, but the propaganda would be in the media that that's how the Ukrainian state it is. Yanukovych is a Ukrainian state, and the Putin is your savior from Yanukovych. and this kind of way it would be played, which is totally nonsense because Putin was the one who was supporting. This is totally different picture of the world. Or for instance, there would be a very usual talk that European Union, they have 50% of unemployment and people are like fleeing European Union, they don't have a job there, while in Russia it's prosperous. So really, even if you talk about that, it's not just about the numbers, but how the media can really bring this idea of taking the decision on the pretext of the false judgment.
So, but then the people that you spoke, ordinary people that you spoke with in Crimea, and majority of them, you may have spoken with Ukrainians, but also with ethnic Russians. And of course next to Crimea, next to Tatars. But what responses were you receiving when you were asking about probably their preferences, whether they would like to gain independence or be part of Russia or remain in Ukraine, just from those conversations that you had on the ground?
It was very hard because it's not that easy. As you tell, it was not anymore a natural environment to work and ask the question, because I have never seen anything in my life. Because on Saturday still, imagine any day, Saturday there is still a demonstration with the Ukrainian flags. On Sunday there is a referendum and there won't be any kind of demonstration because people would be afraid. On Monday people would still reflect on their ideas. There would be those pro and contra. On Tuesday you would try to reach the people who are against, and they would be afraid unless they really know you to speak on TV, on camera, and on Wednesday they would be afraid to speak on camera. So there you don't really discuss. You clearly know who is for which party, and striking how this division easily can be created. But I think the issue is always a common issue, that it's not an issue of the Ukrainian or Tatars, but the issue that any kind of dissent now is not tolerated, that you can't really speak out against the situation, doesn't matter who you are. The importance is to talk about the minority, because if you talk that, in any case, you talk the majority supported, they took this decision, but no, for me the issue is that there is a minority with different reasons. Either they are young people who disagree with what happened, but they don't have a chance to speak out. And I would put this difference between the people, like if there is a division, and media loves the division. So the division in Crimea would be between those who know more information, who has more access to information, who are online, who have more idea about what's happening in Ukraine and what's really happening in Russia, and about those who are living in a vacuum and who just follow the television.
Olena, would you like to add anything to Natalia is saying about Crimea?
Well, I agree with her. Mustafa Jamilov, the leader of Crimean Tatars, was here, and he said that yes, 0.5% of Crimean Tatars participated in this referendum. And he also said that he saw a document presumably produced by FSB about the real participation rates of that referendum, and he said that it's 32% of Crimean voters who participated in that referendum. So we do not really know was that a majority legitimate decision to join Russia, because as Natalia points out, it's really dangerous right now in Crimea to express your opinion unless you are pro-Russian.